Hello, and welcome to Backseat Chats with Fisher and Grace. This poem is another Gwendolyn Brooks poem titled Garbagemen, the Men with the Orderly Mind. In this poem, Gwendolyn Brooks goes over basically what she thinks about what's going on in her time of the civil rights movement and how the blacks in that time were oppressed by the whites and didn't really even follow their own rules and expected everyone else to abide by them. Where she starts by talking about the Fuzzy Endeavor and how they're straight shooters, the black protesters are, and then she goes on to talk about how they never score and they never make any great strides in society because they're constantly being oppressed and being combated by the white politicians and policemen and the schools, education. Everybody at that time was just beating back against them, and they weren't making a whole lot of great strides towards equality.
Do you believe that maybe she was saying that the African American population was trying not to move forward, or do you think that the oppressors were the only reason keeping them back, or do you think they could have, if they had maybe tried a little bit harder, gone back against them?
Well, I think it might be a little bit of both, because it talks about bewilderment of the youth and how a lot of people were being repressed, and they were afraid to go out and take action. And they're talking a lot about how maybe peace isn't enough, and how that they need to go out and voice a little more than they have been. The poem, towards the end especially, sounds a little bit more like a warning. Is light enough when the bewilderment crying against the dark shuts down the shades, dilute confusion, and explode our mist. I think that's more of a warning towards the general population, saying, hey, if we don't get what we want, things are going to get ugly.
Okay, so I know that Gwendolyn Brooks usually addresses the reader a lot. She uses personal pronouns. How often was that used in this poem?
Well, quite a bit. You can see a lot of instances. The entire poem is consisted of questions. What do you think? How can you pardon from your own text? And then towards the end, it goes R. It's talking about R. And she makes it like she's personally asking you, and it's almost like an attack towards you. Why are you doing this to us? And then it comes in and talking about R, but you also, even though she says R, you still feel discluded from her our.
Okay, so do you think she was using our as not a combination of you and us, and more of a separation maybe? Still discluding some people?
Right, I think she was discluding the white people who were combating her to an extent. Dehumanizing them almost like they've been doing to her and her friends.
Okay, so good. That's a lot of insightful. I didn't really think of her as a negative poet, but she does use a lot of undermined diction to kind of like passive aggressively scold the reader.
I wouldn't say that it's negative so much as fed up or frustrated.
Okay, fair. All right, this has been Gwendolyn Brooks' poem.
Backseat Chats, Fisher and Grace.
Yeah.